5-minute speech is that's the toughest speech to give. You can't just bumble along. You got to be prepared and have your message ready to go, which at least up until today has happened. Everyone, right? It's everyone comes in, they give a great speech. It reminds me, I once heard about a member of the congregation who had a radio station. Remember the show had a radio station, not like 88.9 or something. He had a real radio station with a program, music, news, information, talk, whatever it was. And he wanted to have like a little religion, a little religious message, which he had. And he never bothered thinking about the rabbi of his shul, because he used to go on for over an hour every single week. It was a big problem. He was a good speaker, but it was just too long, and it was an issue in the congregation, but that was the rabbi. Can't be disrespectful. So one time he found himself with the rabbi. They were talking about the program, and the rabbi was kind of insulted. He knew about this, and other rabbis in town were on it, but he was never asked. So, he kind of hinted. So this member of the congregation says to the rabbi, well, I would never impose on the rabbi, because the rabbi speaks, for quite some time. It's excellent, but this is only 5 minutes. Do you think you could fit it into the 5-minute time slot? So the rabbi thinks for a moment, and he says, yeah, absolutely, I can definitely. He says, really? He says, yeah. He says, 1 second. He says, you can fit that whole and give it over the way you want it given. He says, absolutely. He says, so why don't you? So I will give him. We have about 4 left. Three. So we're now doing the parshas about Mitzrayim. When we're in Egypt and leaving Egypt. That's what the parshas of the week are about. The portion in the Torah that we're reading. So there's a theme that comes up, which is a very perplexing theme, and that is that the Jewish people don't seem interested at first. When Moses has the message, we're going to be freed. Okay, so they're not sure exactly, but they're having a terrible experience in Egypt. It's a Holocaust, and they're not interested. They didn't hear Moses. They weren't willing to listen. We find in next week's parsha, in Parshat Beshalach, in the beginning, that God actually had to take them out a different way. He couldn't take them out the regular way. He had to take them this whole roundabout version, because they may want to come back to Egypt. They may get nervous and want to come back to Egypt. It begs the question, what is going on over here? I mean, we focus on the Makos, we talk about the plagues, that's what's fun to discuss, but let's face it, they were going through terrible experiences. They were killing children, torturing people, he bathed in the blood. How could they not be willing to hear? It's just unbelievable. It doesn't make any sense. And the commentaries, the Bali Musar, the commentaries explain that understanding an innate part of human nature will make this all understandable. And we can learn a lot about ourselves, because it applies to all of us today. And that is that human beings prefer the certainty of misery to the misery of uncertainty. Which means that what you're used to, as bad as it may be, you're not willing to go forward. You're nervous about the unknown. You may know logically that it's better, but you're uncomfortable. I will tell you, with me, having this experience, about 3/4 of the people in this room are in real estate, and I started, or in Waterbury at least, I started with houses, and I was involved in houses, and I always wanted to buy a building, a small building, but I was nervous, because houses, it's small, it's inexpensive, you don't have a mortgage, you don't have the pressure, it's very easygoing. A building, you have to rely on the tenants to all, stay in the unit, pay the rent. You have a big mortgage, it's a little bit more scary. And it's really not scary, because the fact is everyone lives somewhere and they pay rent. Yes, once in a while there's an eviction. Yisrael can tell us about that. But the fact is that it's really nothing logical to be nervous about. However, I was very nervous. It's a leap. I remember when I finally did it, I was so nervous. When I bought my first property and I came... And actually the rumor, it was a minority complex, and the rumor got around that a Jewish guy bought the building and he wants everyone out. He wants to move in Jewish people. So I had to quickly dispel those rumors. But I eventually got used to it, and now what used to be houses are now for me a little bit larger. I'm comfortable with it because I took that leap and I got myself comfortable, and now there's new things to conquer. And that's how it is in all aspects of life, whether it's work, relationships, whether it's hobbies, or just doing new things. When there's logical reason to do it, but there's nervousness. A lot of people say, well, I'm scared to go out on my own and start my own practice or start my own business because I'd rather work for the person I'm working for because of the security. And you say to them, what security? Well, I have a job, I'm nervous to go on my own. And you say to them, but your boss is on his own also. The same nervousness you have, I'll go on your own, he has. But it's illogical, but you feel somehow comfortable that you're working. So it doesn't apply to every case, but just that's the concept of being nervous about the unknown. Even getting people to come to CTC, getting ourselves, myself coming, all of us coming, we've demonstrated a certain strength of character that we all overcame that. Because wherever you are, everyone in this room, was something new for us, and we overcame that initial unknown, and we jumped in. Like whenever we try, speak to people, and if I meet people that I think would love it, they're a little apprehensive, and then you tell them, there's no fee. You heard said there's no fee. It doesn't cost anything. Okay, gets a little better. They're still not sure. There's refreshments. A little bit. Sometimes they bring from the deli. A little better. In an Orthodox, I don't know. And it's uncomfortable because there's no logical reason, but we're all uncomfortable to go to new things. And certainly in spirituality this applies. When it comes to accepting upon new things, to go further in our religiosity, further make new commitments spiritually to enhance our spiritual life. Just give one last example. When it comes to, for example, there's a Torah prohibition to gossiping, to say anything ill about somebody else. So imagine when you want to make accept upon yourself, you're never going to do it again. You almost feel like nervous to go into that place. Like, I'll never... but you know it's good for you, it's good for the world, it's a good thing, but you feel nervous to actually take that leap. I will never gossip again. So we have to recognize, by understanding that human nature that we all have, and by recognizing that it's there, we can detect it and eventually overcome it. Thank you very much.
Wow.